Okay, so let's talk about being a grown-up. The idea of being a grown-up makes me crazy. Before I even came out as trans, I had a homeless experience. It's very hard when you feel crazy because your gender doesn't make sense for you to do things that don't make sense. Ever since I came out as trans, my family has made a really big push for me to grow up, to be a man, to man up. By this, what do they mean? They mean they want me to be self-reliant, able to support myself, to be able to be a man, support other, support a family, to have a house, to have a car, to have a good paying job, so that if they die, I'm okay because I'm taking care of myself. I don't make grown-up decisions. My favorite hairstyle is a mohawk. Currently, my hair looks like an American flag. I don't have a lot of money in the bank. I have a job that most of the time I'm really happy doing, but that doesn't pay the bills. But I'd rather have a job I like doing and not make a lot of money, which is probably why I'm okay with being a teacher, than have a job where I make a lot of money, but I hate it every second of the day. I've had a lot of jobs in my life, and I haven't kept most of them because I couldn't stand them, because they made me sick, they made me tired, they made me miserable, and I didn't believe in what I was doing. There are people who are poor in the world, and they're still considered adults to some extent. So I don't think having money, makes you an adult. There are child actors who have money, and they get into drugs. So therefore, having money does not make you an adult. I don't know if I'll ever be able to support myself. I'm prone to flights of fancy. I follow my own drum, and my own drum does not in any way align to contemporary culture. Yes, I do like stuff, but I'm not really prone to, stability. Flights of fancy, they happen. And I don't plan. I live my life very much from moment to moment. And I enjoy not planning. I enjoy when I plan, I feel stuck. But I have an immense pressure, and it is social as well as familial, to become an adult. I'm 30. I don't feel like an adult. I like video games and movies and reading and learning. I don't think learning is a bad thing, but I'd rather be learning than working. I heard this phrase one time, people who are perpetual students. While you're in school, if you stay in school, you don't have to pay loans, right? So if I stay in school forever and I just take out loans, I go to school forever. And I've thought about that many times. But I've also thought about joining an order, like becoming a monk or a nun, like a religious vocation, which involves actually making no money, but having a fulfilling experience. And where you don't plan your day, but it is planned for you. So you in fact have no responsibility beyond living up to the schedule that is given to you. But those people are considered adults. So therefore, having a high-paying job and a house and possessions isn't a qualification for adulthood. Maybe it's vocation, whatever that vocation is. But my vocational desires are multitudes and in many different directions. And my grandfather was considered an adult, but he had 70 careers throughout his life. Most of them hugely different. He was a farmer, an inventor. He made fireworks. He did all kinds of stuff. And he was never quite committed, nor did he make a lot of money. But he raised a family, and he was considered an adult. I don't think I will ever be able to be the adult that is expected of contemporary American capitalist society. I just don't think it's possible. I don't know if I'll ever be able to support myself. But I also don't think I'll be in a relationship where someone will support me. I would probably hate that. I may end up homeless again. So what constitutes adulthood? There's nothing that I do in my everyday life that an adult does. A lot of people think I'm a college student, like in my 20s, because of how I live. But I'm happy. And I do things that bring me joy. And that's how I want to live. I will probably always be in debt. I will probably never have a job where I make enough money to support myself without debt. If we lived in a society where we didn't have credit, I'd probably be a starving artist who traded crafts and art for things. I don't have cows or sheep or anything like that, but that's probably how I'd live. Well, I'll tutor you and you give me food. That sounds good. Or I'd come up with some circumstance where I'd work somewhere where they would give me a place to live, even though that's incredibly shady. I don't feel like an adult. But I've always had this like nagging feeling in the back of my head, which is probably not something I created of my own, that made me want to be an adult. But think about cavemen. All you needed to be an adult in caveman society, or in societies that are primal or tribal. Well, you have a ceremony where you go out into the wilderness and you somehow don't die and make it back alive. Hopefully you kill something with a Swiss Army knife or a spear or a rock. Sometimes it involves like craft your own weapon in the wilderness and come back alive. 30 pounds lighter, whatever. But in some societies, all it takes to be an adult is to prove that in dangerous situations, you're not the weakest. And that's all it takes. And then it takes a village. If you look at tribal society, possession and stuff, well, that's man's grade. Fine. But to be an adult, all you have to do is survive some passage, and then you're there. And maybe you have tribal expectations. Again, expectations set outside of what to do. But you're not required to have a high-paying job. Every job is valued, whatever job that is. Well, you're the guy who builds the fences, and you're the guy who keeps the coyotes away. And then money doesn't enter into it. But in a capitalist society, like Carson said, we're just required to have a lot of things. And houses and cars. And spouses or partners. And family. I don't think I'll have any of those things. I don't even know if I'll be able to afford a place to rent. So, am I a failure? Sometimes I feel like it. But I'm a happy failure. Sometimes. I don't know. It's weird. Like, why do we have to meet these standards? If I change genders, why are their requirements for me different? If I'm a woman in a Hispanic society that is religious, you don't have to have a job. You could stay at home and cook and clean, and you don't need to make any money. Someone will find a place for you to live. You can live with cousins or with your immediate family. or your spouse's family. But if you're a man, well, all that freedom goes out the window, and now you have to be a breadwinner. But I'm not really that kind of person. I like to think of myself more as Michelangelo. Now, he did things he didn't like, definitely. But he kind of had a slovenly existence. He kind of, lived in a hovel. He wasn't very rich. Yes, he painted the Sistine Chapel ceiling, but, all his money went to frivolous things like giant blocks of marble because he wanted to create something. And he was gay, but he was still considered a man. I don't know. I think it's a very dangerous topic. I don't know. I fear at some point, I'm lucky, my job is accepting and will pay for transition, but I don't make a lot of money. And the jobs I want to do, being transgender, may hinder me from even getting the jobs I want. Or keeping them. And then what? Sometimes people make it seem like being a woman would be easier. There are less expectations from you in some regards and more expectations of you in other regards. That's not who I am, even if those are the expectations I would like to meet because I can. Life is very complicated. Also, this light is really blinding and I'm sorry. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Weird stuff. Ky out.